As I wake up still processing Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, I realized that there was some pretty disturbing backlash. And as I'm scrolling through the abundance of backlash, I'm like, there is no way that people actually believe this show sucked. But as I started digging, I realized that the disappointment wasn't about Kendrick Lamar himself.
I'm sorry, Kendrick Lamar at the Super Bowl was whack. That was one of the worst halftime shows.
Lamar's Super Bowl 2025 performance has been slammed as the worst halftime show ever.
But it was just the sole fact that people were not entertained by the show. As a Kendrick Lamar fan, I understand this because my initial response was it was underwhelming and it did feel a bit rushed. So I get it. After rewatching this performance, as I do many Super Bowl performances, I came to a realization I had fallen trapped into mindlessly consuming without critically thinking about what they are created for. In other words, I had fallen trapped to my own ignorance and my own ego, thinking that this man is here for my sole entertainment. Now, how did I come to such a drastic conclusion? Well, because as I rewatched this show over and over, I started to realize that the lack of entertainment that everybody seems to have an issue with was supposed to be the main theme of this show. Now, how did I get to that point? Let's just get right on into the show itself. We see that the stage is set up in a game board fashion. Is it tic-tac-toe? Is it a video game? I don't fucking know. But it is a game nonetheless. Now, what's symbolic about this? Well, it is very clear from the performance that Kendrick Lamar puts on throughout this halftime show that we are actually playing a game of destroying each other and tearing each other down for the amusement of those who are not like us, whether that be not like us in terms of color or that be not like us in terms of status. And what's almost ironic about this is the very reason that Kendrick Lamar was offered the halftime show in the first place. I mean, he got offered it from a song that was meant to be a part of a beef of one of the biggest hip hop artists in the game right now.
Yes, I want to make a move. For sure. I want to perform their favorite song, but you know they love the sue. What song? Yeah, that song. That song.
So technically, this is why we're here in the first place. And what's even more telling about us being pawns in a game is that when you see the dancers, they're in clothing dyed the color of the American flag, but the styling of this clothing is symbolic to those who are in prison. From there, a clear visual message is sent. As long as we play in their game, the game of violence, gangs, drugs, sex, we will always be pawns used for their entertainment. Or in just simpler terms, we will always be prisoners of the system. Now, moving right along from the first opening visualization that we see, we move right along into Uncle Sam. I find this ironic because Uncle Sam turns out to be one of the greatest entertainers of all time, and he is not our original Uncle Sam. He is shown as a black man, Samuel L. Jackson. Now, as he introduces himself, he puts emphasis on the word uncle.
It's your Uncle Sam, and this is the great American game.
Now, this is symbolic because sometimes as artists, as creatives, once we enter the industry or into spaces where faces like mine and darker are sparse, we are encouraged to play said game that we are talking about. And what's even crazier about that is we are encouraged to play that game by our very own, whether it be friends, whether it be co-workers, or as seen here, it could be family members. You shouldn't wear your hair like that. You shouldn't talk like that. You got to play the game to get where you are. I mean, it's just known that in our culture, it is encouraged to play the game because we feel like that's the only path that will lead us to success. We see more dialogue from him saying, no, don't do that. You know, it's too ghetto, so on and so forth, things of that nature.
No. Too loud, too reckless. just too ghetto. Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game? Then tighten up.
Yes, we understand another hard truth. Start expressing ourselves as our authentic selves when things start becoming too black, when things are too urban, ethnic, cultural, ghetto. We are often told to tone it down. Sometimes from our very own, most of the time from those who seek the entertainment of that very thing, which is crazy. Shorter terms, everybody wants to be black until it's time to be black, as they say. We get into the flag symbolism as a whole. So as the opening scene to the performance goes forward, we see American flag. The American flag is built up of black men, and splitting that flag right down the middle is Kendrick Lamar. At that point, the song Humble plays. Mind you, this is the only older song that we hear played throughout the performance. I mean, there's bits and pieces of other songs, but for the most part, this is the longest segment from an older song that we get, and it just so happens to be the song Humble. As that song plays, the dancers start to move in a robotic and almost uniform fashion. As the Humble song ends, they break off from that uniform robotic movement and they scatter across the stage, breaking free from the formation. It symbolizes us breaking free from playing the game that is designed for us to entertain, conform, and destroy ourselves for the appeasing of the elite. If that doesn't give you Squid Games vibes, I don't know what else will. The ultimate message of this segment is you don't have to be politically correct to be successful. The only thing you have to do is be you. Whether that is you're ghetto as hell or whether that is you're proper as hell. Whatever it is, there is no certain way to be in order to be successful. You don't have to change yourself or be unauthentic in order to appease others you feel are more successful than you. This moves us right on into Squabble Up. It's like the song goes into don't make us have to squabble up. It's like a warning. Honestly, the most iconic part of this song is your music, it makes me dance at your reason, now here's your chance, or whatever it says. I'll put the lyrics right here. Symbolic to say that sometimes we don't have a choice whether or not we play in this game. I'm going to state game a lot, take a shot for every time I do. Basically what this is saying is we are expected to entertain, but we have a choice in whether or not we do. We have a choice in if we want to play the game or if we want to break ourselves free, fight ourselves out of the system. Let's just be real. Kendrick made that choice, and this performance is clear of that.
The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy.
I could go on and on about the symbolisms within this performance, but I want to make it clear why this performance is one of the best halftime performances of all time. Just fact. You have an artist who always stayed true to hip-hop, no matter the decade, no matter what was presented to him. He always stayed true to hip-hop and what hip-hop was intended for, which is uplifting the youth. I have a system that tried to use him for entertainment. Let's be real, that's the only reason he got the Super Bowl show, was because they thought he was going to uphold this beef with Drake. Instead of playing the game, he just flipped the script. Clear, Kendrick Lamar didn't come to the Super Bowl stage to entertain the industry as they thought he would. Like we thought it would be a black man tearing down another black man. It's what most of them profit off of to begin with. That's probably what they wanted. But instead, Kendrick Lamar showed that Not Like Us wasn't for your entertainment. It was to make a statement. It was never about Drake. It was just about what Drake represented. It wasn't about just hip-hop artists. It was about them too. And he did all of this in front of an audience that, let's just be clear, statistically was largely made up of the community that he was addressing. If that's not genius, I don't know what is. And the reason that most of the others find this unentertaining is because the message was never meant for y'all to understand in the first place. So let me end this video with a statement of the obvious. The backlash received from Kendrick Lamar's statement only proves that he was right. Destruction, the complaints, the criticism, all reinforces the idea that got him to the stage in the first place. Music was never meant for mindless entertainment and mass consumption. Rap music is a vessel, tool for storytelling, creation, and lived experiences. And that is something that every human being deserves without contingency. Lamar didn't create this show to entertain you. He created this show to make you think. And that is exactly what hip hop is supposed to do. My final thoughts is this was one of the most important Super Bowl performances in years. Not because it was flashy, not because there were a bunch of explosions, not because Beyonce popped out, but because it was intentional. Kendrick Lamar didn't just perform for your entertainment, but he performed to make a statement. So that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what symbolisms and things you saw throughout the performance. Let me just know your overall thoughts about the performance. Anyways, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. All of my socials will be in the description box. But with that being said,
Emil L. Jackson is commentating. Serena Williams is here. SZA is here. Y'all so ungrateful.